When I saw a cookie or a cake or a hamburger in front of me, I had zero cravings. It wasn't those bad bacteria in my gut saying, eat it, eat it, eat it. Just one time. And tomorrow you could start all over again. Join me for a walk. I want to talk a little bit about binge eating today. I want to talk about the problems that I've had with binge eating. I want to tell you how I've had problems with binge eating for 40 plus years since I was a kid. How now I've gone the last 11 plus months with not binge eating, not having one craving for junk food, not having one craving, losing tons of weight, fixing dozens and dozens upon health problems, getting off of my blood pressure medication, feeling great in the mornings, feeling great in the evenings, but more importantly than the weight loss and the other great health benefits, I haven't had one craving. I haven't desired to go through the fast food lane, haven't desired to go to the nearest gas station and pick me up a bakery or pick me up some kind of sweet treat. I've had zero cravings to do that. And I know I'll never do it again, but because I don't want to, because I have no desire to. If you're new to this channel, I'm the Improvement Gnome. I do all things self-improvement, whether that be career, relationships, diet, exercise, finance, spirituality. And one quick disclaimer, I'm not a doctor, I'm not giving you any medical advice, so please consult with your doctor before you make any medical decisions. I've been binge eating since the 3rd grade, and I would gravitate towards the fast food, to the junk, to the cakes, to the cookies, to the sweets, to the pasta, to the hamburgers. I logically knew what to do. I logically knew that those foods were wrong, that I should be eating fruits and vegetables, and I should not be eating this junk food. Something would just keep dragging me in to this whole cycle of binge eating and going on binge eating frenzies for a month, 2 months, and then I would find a new diet online, and then I would try it, and I would lose 10, 20, 50 pounds. But those cravings were always there. I would always cheat. Eventually the BE would start taking my life over again. At my highest weight last year, I was 320 pounds. I had high blood pressure. I was miserable. My feet were swelling. I was getting dizzy. I knew I was entering into type 2 diabetes. I knew what I was doing to my body. And as logically and as much as I could white knuckle not eating bad, I would keep being dragged into eating bad foods for me. And I logically knew what I was doing, but it was almost like something was taking over my body. Something was taking over my brain, and I had no control over my thoughts anymore. And it would make me gravitate towards these foods.
This is what I live on. I just get bigger and bigger. And when I see people that are 400 pounds, 500 pounds, you know, I weigh 285. If you had told me 10 years ago that I'd be 285, I would have laughed in your face.
I found the solution to cut off the noise. I could go hours and hours without even thinking about food. I have to remind myself that I have to eat because I have zero cravings now. The way I did it, not only did it not cost money, but it saved me money in grocery bills. There's no special things that you have to buy. There's just things that you don't supposed to eat anymore. And if you take those things out of your diet, and even things that we consider health food, those things will cause leaky gut, and it will hijack your brain to eating these bad foods all over again. If you take these foods out, your gut lining will heal. You'll start feeding the good bacteria in your intestines with healthy fiber and foods that will nourish it. It'll make it happy to where it'll shut off that noise and you won't have any cravings again. Not having a leaky gut will stop feeding the bad bacteria that's wanting sugar, that's wanting all these processed refined foods. Killing them off, and you're handing the keys over to your good bacteria forever. Last year in 2020, when the world was going through what it was going through, I researched and I finally found Dr. Stephen Gundry, The Plant Paradox. And you can find him here on YouTube, but I learned what foods to take out of my diet and what foods to put back in it. He basically says to take out all lectin foods. Lectins are carbohydrated proteins found in a lot of plants. It's the plant's protective mechanism to protect itself from getting eaten and from prey that they've been using now for millions and millions of years. Your body and gut, they don't want these foods, and they're trying to give you warning signs to say, hey, stop eating this. It's causing us autoimmune disease. It's making us blow up like a big balloon. It's giving us type 2, it's giving us dementia, it's giving all these ailments, arthritis, so on and so forth. But what happens is the bad bacteria hijacks the process And then with leaky gut, it starts feeding the bad bacteria and it takes over your brain.
You could take a fecal transplant from a fat individual and give it to a skinny marathon runner, in one example that was published in Lancet. And the skinny marathon runner gained 30 pounds in a year just because her microbiome actually took over her brain and made her eat different foods.
And it says, hey, I want that Snicker bar. I want that McDonald's. I want those cookies. I want those donuts. In the past, you may have gone vegan. You may have gone carnivore. You may have gone the Atkins diet, the Zone diet, but something eventually hijacks you. But a lot of so-called health foods have lectins in them. Soy, corn, peppers, peanuts, cashews, those are all lectins. And if you're eating a healthy diet and you consume those foods, it's found in peanuts and cashews, etc., it will hijack your body all over. While you're doing one of these diets, you'll incorporate one of these healthy foods that contain lectins, and it'll start the process all over again, giving you leaky gut and making you binge eat and start reverting back to junk food, to start reverting back to garbage. What would happen in my life is I would do good. I'd get on a vegan diet or a carnivore diet. I'd lose 20, 30, 40 pounds. I would eventually eat one of these gateway lectin foods that I thought was healthy, like peanuts or nachos with cheese. That would put me back into a tailspin, and I'd throw my hands up and I would say, I give up, I can't take it anymore. I just want McDonald's. And then I would gain the 40 or 50 pounds that I'd lost back within weeks. May 12th, 2020 of last year, when I decided to take all these lectins out of my diet and just go 1 year without eating lectins. I was going to see if those cravings stopped. I educated what foods to take out, which were the lectins, which some of the obvious ones are wheat, bread, pasta, stuff like that. But I also took out the other lectins, like all the melons, the watermelon, the cantaloupe. I took out cucumbers, I took out tomatoes, I took out beans. So if I eat a bean, it has to be pressure cooked or I just won't eat it. I took out all the processed oil, canola oil, sapphire oil. And for oil, I would usually use extra virgin olive oil. And what was surprising is the first 24 hours, I didn't have any cravings, no cravings whatsoever. And now it's been 11 plus months. I went from a week to a month to 6 months. And the 12th of every month was my new anniversary. And I would tell my family members, can you believe it? I've gone 3 months without binge eating. I've gone 3 months without going to fast food or eating a donut or eating something bad for me. 3 months turned into 6 months. Then I went to Jamaica on vacation in November. Of course, Christmas went by, my birthday went by, but I had no cravings because I knew that the temptations would never be there because I was going to go off of lectins for 1 year. And when I saw a cookie or a cake or a hamburger in front of me, I had zero cravings. It wasn't those bad bacteria in my gut saying, eat it, eat it, eat it, just one time. And tomorrow you could start all over again. Those voices weren't inside my head anymore. It was beautiful, it was freeing, it was so life-saving. Now I'll go hours and hours without even thinking about food. Like for example, I'll eat a mixture of leafy greens that has onion in it, some carrots, maybe a little bit of shrimp, drizzle it with olive oil and some vinegar, and I feel awesome. And it gives me energy. And when I wake up in the morning, I don't have brain fog. And that voice, and that bad voice in my brain is not there anymore. And it almost feels like I got a new life again. So before May 12th of last year, I would go years and years of binge eating, and then I would go on a crash diet, or I would eat something I thought was sensible. But what would happen is I would get tricked and hijacked with these lectin foods. I'd buy me some processed meal that was considered healthy in the health section, and it would have soy in it, it would have wheat, it would have corn in it, it would have high fructose corn syrup. You'll learn that corn or anything related to corn is just as bad as lectins, but when it enters your system, it recognizes it as a grain, like you're eating wheat, and you have the same effects when you eat corn. So all those years that I was overweight and unhappy, I would try all these multiple diets every single year, and I would do good, but then those cravings would stop kicking in. I couldn't white knuckle it anymore. And white knuckling means that you're grabbing hold of something so tight, your knuckles turn white. And that's what it is when we try to go on these diets, and then we eat something that we think is a health food, but it's really a lectin that's getting into our systems and starting the whole BED process all over again. This BED for you will never go away until you take these certain foods out of your diet that's giving you leaky gut. It will never go away. The last 11 months when I've healed my leaky gut, I've only really needed to eat 1 meal a day. That's all I've desired. I've been eating tons of fiber. In the first 9 or 10 months, I didn't even exercise. I would walk every week a couple of times, but I knew the diet was working for me and I was losing tons of weight. And I noticed that my cardiovascular and my energy was just feeling better even without exercise. It's like I have all this energy now. And so now I could walk for miles. I could run if I want to. I can lift weights. And it's not taxing on me. It's not hard to do.
You know, I don't like this idea that these little one-cell organisms are controlling, you know, the marvelous invention that's a human brain. Most of our energy is actually coming from what's happening with our microbiome.
When you're binge eating, you're depriving yourself of all these other great nutrients and nutrition that you get on these non-lectin foods that are healthy for you, like leafy greens, like carrots, like tubers. Tell me in the comment section any problems that you've had with BED. Do me and yourself a favor and just try taking lectins out of your diet for 6 months, completely out of your diet. And then if you don't feel good or if it's not working for you, stop doing it and try something else. But just go 6 months without taking lectins. You don't even have to worry about exercising. I guarantee you, if you follow the diet correctly, in 6 months you won't crave to have a treat again. You won't crave a cheat day. A cheat day won't exist for you because now every day's a cheat day because you feel great every day now. The foods that you're eating now is nourishing your body and they taste good. So again, I'm the Improvement Gnome and I make videos like this every week. Please subscribe and I'll have some more videos for you up here. And as always, better and better.